In 1970, the world's attention was locked on the stars. The space race had pushed humanity to look up, pouring billions of dollars and our best engineering minds into reaching the lunar surface. But while we were mapping the craters of the moon, our knowledge of the ground directly beneath our feet was surprisingly thin. The deep interior of our own planet remained a space of pure theory. Soviet scientists decided to pivot. Instead of aiming for the vacuum of space, they launched a massive mission to explore inner Earth. They built a massive drilling derrick on a remote stretch of land, initiating the Kola Superdeep Borehole. The objective was to drill deeper into the Earth's crust than any project in history. For nearly 2 decades, the drill chewed its way downward, pulling up physical samples from layers of the crust that had only ever existed as mathematical models. Descending through layers of compressed rock presents an engineering puzzle just as lethal as navigating a vacuum. The deeper you go, the more the immense pressure and heat destroy the machinery you put down there. The project was staged on the Kola Peninsula in northwestern Russia, a rugged landscape of lakes and dense forests far from major population centers. Starting in 1970, the team maintained a relentless pace. Year after year, straight through the 1980s, the machinery bored steadily into the bedrock. This gauge tracks their progress downward. By 1989, the drill dropped past the depths of the deepest caves and ocean trenches, stopping at 12,262 meters. At 12 kilometers deep, they reached the deepest artificial point ever created by human hands. Geologists had relied on seismic waves to guess what existed at those depths. Now, they were pulling up actual physical pieces of the deep crust. Prior to the excavation, scientific consensus held that rock at these extreme depths would be entirely dry and biologically dead. The pressure was simply too great for anything else to survive. Then, the drill pulled up samples that proved those models wrong. The team found liquid water trapped inside the mineral structures, moisture existing at depths where it was previously thought impossible. Beyond the water, researchers found something unexpected in the deep rock samples: the fossilized remains of ancient marine organisms. The delicate, porous structures of these biological remnants remained intact, preserved despite sitting under millions of tons of crushing geological pressure. Finding water and biological remnants at these depths provided the first physical evidence that the continental crust was far more complex than the dry, lifeless layers described in textbooks. Over the years, the site has attracted its share of internet legends. You may have heard that the drill broke into a giant hollow cave or recorded screaming sounds. There is zero scientific evidence for any of those stories. The real obstacle the scientists hit was far less supernatural, but entirely lethal to their equipment. The drill encountered a massive temperature spike, reaching roughly 180 degrees Celsius. That heat level was double what scientists had predicted for that specific depth. At 180 degrees, a failure known as plastic deformation occurs. The rock stops acting like brittle stone and becomes soft and malleable. Under the weight of the Earth, this hot rock essentially oozed back into the borehole. It clamped down on the drill pipe, making safe operation impossible. The project didn't end because the crew gave up. It ended because the thermal physics of the deep Earth actively prevented further drilling. Bypassing that malleable rock would require new, heat-resistant drilling technology, demanding a massive injection of cash. The timing was difficult. In the early 1990s, the collapse of the Soviet Union ended the project's state backing, cutting off all funding. Today, the deepest hole in the world sits permanently sealed beneath a rusted metal cap, surrounded by the abandoned, decaying buildings of the research facility. Economic instability and the extreme heat of the crust combined to halt humanity's deepest excavation. 12,262 meters is an astonishing distance to drill into solid rock. But scale is a matter of perspective. This diagram shows a cross-section of the Earth. The Kola borehole represents less than 0.2% of the distance to the center. That leaves the entire mantle and molten core completely untouched, an immense volume remaining out of our reach. The project remains a landmark of 20th century exploration, but the heat and pressure that stopped the drill serve as a reminder that the world beneath our feet is a frontier we have barely begun to touch.